Hi, this is episode 22, season 3 of my journey to squat more weight, ideally double bodyweight back squat. So we're going to get into some proper data today and have a conversation about how things have gone and where things are going and general kind of catch up with all things numbers. So the last couple of weeks it's been slightly frustrating on the progression side of things. I mean, and we're getting the sessions in, but the numbers of the data was quite a way back from where it had been a few weeks back. So just to get a bit of a recap, back in mid-February, I had a weightlifting competition, so I tapered down for that, and then had a week off from training. Just had no interest in training, just had no desire to pick up a weight of any kind. Had that week out of the way, and just literally, my physical performance was way down. So if you can see the graph I've got here, you can see there's a bit of in the middle. That's that kind of gap where there's an absence of data. So just on the left-hand side of that, those blue bars are reps completed. So again, if anyone's not kind of watched the previous episodes, I'm doing the 5x5 where I'm actually interested in the last 3 sets of that 5x5. That in a minute is 130 kilos of back squat, using a velocity cut-off approach where the slowest rep is cut off at 0.3 meters per second. So if I'm supposed to do 5 reps and on the third rep it's below 0.3, that set is terminated. So micro progress is the number of set of reps completed. So the highest number being 15 and the lowest number being 3. So that'd be 1 rep per set. What's happened over the last couple of weeks and what is happening today is kind of reassuring that I've got back. And this is the message that I kind of gave myself last week was I've seen these blips before. They come and they don't last all that long. You just got to just keep kind of going and you'll get there. So last week, I think the best I did was 12 reps. I think the best I did the week before that was like either 10 or 11 reps. As you can see in that graph there. So we've now got the blue bars today, the second session of this week, and I've done 15 reps on Monday and 15 reps on Tuesday. So I'm back up to those, the volume of work I was doing pre the competition. There's a couple of other kind of, so they're the kind of the vertical bars, if you like. And the horizontal lines, there's a solid line and a dotted line. The solid line is the set or the total mean velocity. So all those reps I did, what's the mean velocity? And you can see there that it was way down, and then it's kind of ascending now. So today's rep, was the fastest velocity I've done since I came back into training after the competition. It's not quite where I was at the peak just before the competition, but it certainly, you can see the trend is upwards. And the dotted line is best rep. You know, they two represent two different things. I spoke about this in previous episodes. So across 15 reps, you've got your total kind of capacity, for like strength endurance, for want of a better term. Whereas that dotted line represents this one best rep of that entire kind of session. And that for me is kind of more indicative of your maximum strength rather than strength capacity. So what I'm seeing there is that is also on the ascent as well. And again, it's not quite where I was before that. I'm not above 0.4 meters per second yet, and I think that's a good benchmark for me on 130, and certainly aiming towards 0.5 meters per second. But the signs are there that's on the upward trajectory, so they're really positive. So yeah, I just kind of had to stick with it, just knock out these sessions, knock out the intensity, be smart, not push things that weren't there to be pushed, and stick with it, and the numbers will follow. The next bit is really now me starting to think about this, not just as somebody who wants to squat the upper body weight, although that's certainly the objective, is to think about myself as a weightlifter doing this as well. So squats are the first thing to do, that's the most important thing, but I'm starting to think of building exercises around that, building a program around that, which is developing me as a weightlifter rather than simply just trying to squat more weight. Because I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. I think they can have good crossover. So at the beginning of each session, I do 3 reps of snatch at 50 kilograms and 3 reps of a clean at 70 kilograms. And I just take the mean of that. So this graph is relative peak power for each of those 3 reps of each exercise. So the upper line is the blue line, which is the cleans, and the bottom orange line is the snatch. What that's really showing is it's all over the place. It's really, really erratic. And I mentioned this last week, actually, that the older I get, the more variable I get. and there don't seem to be a particular pattern or trend. Obviously, I do know if I'm poorly or tired or stressed or all those things, that definitely has a negative impact. But I can either have a good day and I still have quite erratic data. And you can see from there, these really kind of ups and downs and peaks and troughs. I know from a personal point of view that as a lifter, I'm technically and physiologically getting better. But the sub-maximal lows don't seem to reflect that. And I'm now starting to think about whether I continue with this, whether this is actually telling me anything of any use, or is just data for the sake of collecting data. Now, that being said, it means you get to do some snatch and some clean and jerk in every single session. So there's value in it outside of just collecting data. But I'm not sure how much information this is telling me about, am I getting better as a weightlifter or my readiness to train on a particular day? I need to think about that again. Now, going back to season 1, I used to do counter movement jumps, and that was telling me the same thing. And it might actually be that I just need to do some squats, and I do a standardized 5 reps at a set load, and that is my barometer for that particular day, and everything. So this might be on one of those peak days. I might be really good at weightlifting, but as a really bad squat day. So the two kind of measures are really independent of each other, and like vary any given day, but not in a pattern. So data is great, but it has to tell you something. It has to mean something. You have to do something with it. And the simple answer is that, well, this is interesting. If I had a low number on this one, what I've learned over the years is just because that low, let me say the squat's low, and if it's not going to inform my readiness, then why am I collecting the data on it? For the purpose I started off with. Not questioning the use of doing clean and jerk and snatch before a session because it's a good way to build the volume across the week, but it's not necessarily useful as a data capture tool. The next kind of piece is I've started to collect information on other exercises now that I think might transfer, well, they definitely will transfer into my training as a weightlifter as well. So squats are great, and that's the main thing. But when you're weightlifting, you've got to pull the bar off the floor first, and that's, if you can't pull it off the floor, you can't complete the clean and jerk or the snatch. So start to look at that. So my second exercise now is 2 sets of 5 snatch pulls at 80 kilograms, and then 2 sets of 5 clean pulls at 100 kilograms. And they always follow the order. I don't alternate it. Simply, if you're not following weightlifting competitions, your snatch is always first, and your clean and jerk is always second. So your clean and jerk is always in the fatigue state after the snatch. So this is a kind of my rationale for doing it in that particular order. And I don't alternate that one simply because if I ever miss a day, I'll then miss that entire kind of load for either the snatch pulls or clean pulls. So 2 sets of each, that's 6 sets across the week. I think it's more, plus also I'm doing some clean and jerk and snatch in between times. So there's a kind of a package of training pack there. So I'm just going to kind of bring this up a little bit broader now. So that's taken me from probably over the last kind of 5-6 weeks. That's end of February to middle of March. So it's only been about 3 or 4 weeks. So we've not seen much change yet. I haven't really focused on collecting data. This is kind of almost like the start of this approach. So there's 2 things I'm collecting there. The same as before, the mean velocity. This is both for the second set of both of those exercises. So it's under my most fatigue state, if you like. Looking at mean velocity and best rep. So the first thing I can think about there isn't a lot of difference between best rep and mean velocity. So I'm not getting a lot of fatigue in that set of 5. That's a good thing. I'll probably see a bigger difference between best rep and mean in the squat. So that's a more stable measure. And the other dotted line is mean displacement. You can see that's relatively stable as well. So over the course of this particular period of time that I've measured there, there's been no real change. You might see on the snatch there, there's a slight upturn recently, but not very much. But I'm looking at displacement in this one as opposed to not look at displacement in the squats. And there's a reason for that. In the squats, you start off at the top position, you descend all the way to kind of a full depth squat, and then you come back up again. There isn't a lot of variation in that, or there shouldn't be. I don't measure squats because I'm pretty comfortable that if I can't do a full depth squat, I've canned the set anyway. So I always do full depth squats, and I always kind of finish at the top because that's how you squat. But in a snatch pull or a clean pull, the lighter the weight gets in terms of your relative strength, the higher and higher the bar can travel. So if you're trying to pull a light weight off the floor, you might get it as high as it kind of almost chest height. But if you're pulling a very heavy weight off the floor, you might not get it as high as the hips. So with increasing ease, so as you say, if I take 80 kilograms and got progressively stronger at that one, it starts off being very low displacement and then progressively over weeks get higher and higher and higher. It's not double in height, but you can see an increase in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 centimeters over a training program. That would also come with an equal amount of change in velocity, you would hope. So as the weight gets lighter, it gets increased velocity and increased displacement. So if we're not pulling it high enough, pulling it faster should also get higher as well. So there's another kind of variable there to look at. So am I getting it higher? Equally, if the velocity, the mean velocity stays the same, but I'm moving it higher, that's another indication that I've kind of progressed, but I've a little bit more progression left to go. So yeah, the average velocity stayed the same, but I'm able to move the bar over a greater distance. And again, all this is just trying to help me become unpick how to get stronger and actually transfer that strength into true weightlifting performance as well.